Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining the call this evening. Thanks for being on time. I'm sure some folks will continue to trickle in the next few minutes, but we are going to go ahead and get started with our next National Capital Region for Biden call. For those of you who were on the call last time on the 17th, welcome back. If this is your first time joining us, welcome to the team. We are a collective group of volunteers in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. And I saw in the chat box we have some folks calling in from across the country. So we are really excited to have you on board with us. We're going to talk about quite a few things tonight. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide, Jake. Alrighty, so this is just a quick little recap from the last meeting, a tweet that I sent out about the meeting. We had over 200 people from across the DMV area join us for an engaging discussion, which was super exciting. I see we have close to 100 tonight, so it should be another great event. Jake, next slide, please. Awesome. So what we are going to talk about tonight, we're at the welcome and opening remarks. My name is Matthias. I am one of the field organizers for the campaign in Virginia, leading us through our intro here. In a few minutes, I'm going to pass it off to my colleague Jake, who will recap what we talked about at the last meeting and summarize that. We're also going to hear from our super volunteer, Kurt Tran, who has set up a Slack channel for us to stay engaged and be able to communicate with each other. Our volunteer, Dawn, in Maryland, is going to talk about some information that you all shared about yourselves from the last meeting, what volunteer experience you have, how you want to help out Team Biden. And then we're going to close with some next steps and save time for questions and answers. We expect this to take about 45 minutes. So let's get on with it. So a few norms, feel free to take notes at home if you want to. We'll be covering some cool info. And if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat box. We'll also have a chance at the end for folks to unmute themselves and ask away. So with that being said, I'll pass it off to my colleague, Jake Steele, to kick us off.
Thank you so much, Matthias. Thank you. And, thank you all again for joining us. We had a really great meeting a couple weeks ago, and, it's really going to be great this time around. But to start things off on this meeting, I do want to acknowledge the, everything that's been going on around us. It started last week with, the first thing that I saw was the Amy Cooper Central Park story where she tried to call the police on a bird watcher who asked her to put her dog on a leash, and then we saw the George Floyd. It was really, really tragic, and it's been a really tough week for all of us. Many of us don't share the same experiences that people of color in this country share every single day or have every single day, but we do have empathy for that. And it's something that, I'm really proud to say that I can say that the guy we're supporting, Joe Biden, supports that too. If he is on the call, I believe that he got the link, but I would actually like to invite one of my friends, Christian Amori. He is a sophomore at American University. I would like him to just say a few words if he's here. So Christian, if you could just unmute yourself, we really want to hear from you. Yeah, I guess that Christian didn't get the link. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, I did.
Oh, you did. There you go, Christian.
Good evening, everyone. Hi, folks. My name is Christian Omari. I have the distinct honor and privilege of serving as the president of American University Students for Biden here in Washington. And I am a rising sophomore. And additionally, I was recently named the president of Black Americans for Biden. So I am going to be helping to lead the charge on mobilizing Black communities across this country around goals of systemic change, collective action, and electing, Joe Biden, who's been an ally, however imperfect, but still a staunch ally of our community for so many decades, to the highest office in the land, and really making sure that we dispatch the most racist and corrupt president in modern American history. So, folks, I would just say, as someone who lived in the Minneapolis area for almost 8 years, that the situation in that city is, very visceral to me personally. I know those streets where that police precinct burned down. I know those streets that became ablaze. I know the streets where tear gas and rubber bullets were fired and where we saw the clashes, the worst of the clashes. And, just as a Black person in America, it doesn't surprise me. And, we've been at this place before as a country. We remember what happened during the civil rights movement with the race riots in cities like Newark and Detroit. And we saw then, just like now, that people used riots. People rioted because they felt like they were locked out of the levers of power in this country, that they felt unheard. Dr. King sermonized on multiple occasions that a riot is the language of the unheard. Dr. King said that. I think when we think about Dr. King and his indelible impact on American history, we forget that Dr. King was not this anodyne, feel-good, moral crusader. He was someone who is much more radical than we often like to portray him today. He was someone who recognized the structural deficiencies in America that we needed to unravel and dismantle to really achieve a more perfect union as our founders aspired to do. And we find ourselves at that same precipice right now, where we see curfews being imposed all over the country. We see the National Guard being deputized in municipalities across this country. We see a nation on edge. And we face a similar moment where it behooves all of us, regardless of our race or creed, to really stand up and speak for justice. I would just say that all those folks on this call who, have whiter skin hues, that this is your fight as well. Any injustice anywhere, remember, is a threat to justice everywhere. That is what Dr. King reminded us at his letter from Birmingham jail. Injustice that affects any constituency group in this country directly pertains to all of us. So we can't be silent. We can't be silent because silence is complicity. And as the vice president himself said yesterday, silence enables the continuance of these cycles of oppression, these cycles of marginalization that hold so many in this country back. So I behoove all of you. It's time to step up. This is the most important election in our lives. That is not hyperbole. That is not an understatement. We see, look at this, just look at what the vice president said, the magnitude of his words. We are in a battle for the soul of this nation. We truly are. We had the president of the United States say to overwhelmingly peaceful protesters that when the looting starts, the shooting starts, which directly echoed, and I know many of you probably know this, what a very violently segregationist police chief in Miami-Dade County said decades earlier. When the looting starts, the shooting starts. You had a president of the United States, think about this. Someone in 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue who almost has made the White House into a conclave say that when the looting starts, the shooting starts. That basically people, his own fellow Americans, his fellow compatriots should have license to be shot. Can you imagine? Can you imagine that? Just think about that for a second. I'm a student of history, and I'm majoring in international relations at American University, and I've studied history extensively. I've studied Weimar Germany before the rise of Hitler. I've studied Italy after the Treaty of Versailles before the rise of Mussolini, and those are tactics when the looting starts, the shooting starts, that we would basically unleash martial law, martial power against our very own citizens. That very much resembles the tactics of years past, of a darker time. History is once again, I fear, repeating itself. This election, thus, is a crucial election. You cannot rest on your laurels in this election. You must mobilize. There's so much at stake. Are we truly going to be a democracy that represents everyone? Are we truly going to be a racially inclusive democracy? Or are we going to turn back to darker ages in our history where so many had lacked access to the franchise? And you're already seeing it. You see with Republicans in state houses across the country, voter suppression, gerrymandering that marginalizes the voices of African Americans, of Latino voters, of Asian Americans, of anyone who isn't white. We're seeing this reprise itself once again. So we have to redouble our efforts in this election. We cannot sit this one out. We have to go to every battleground state and ensure that people are getting out to vote. We're registering voters, that vote by mail. People know about vote by mail and the importance of vote by mail. People are educated that we're fighting back against the disinformation coming from the right-wing media ecosystem to ensure that people know about their fundamental right to vote. John Lewis spilled his blood on the Edmund Pettus Bridge so that I could vote. So I will vote in this election. And this is my first election, and I am damn proud to be voting in this election. And I implore all of you, you have to tell your friends and your family, all the people in your networks, that this election is simply too important to forsake. Are we going to be a democracy? Or are we going to be an autocracy? So that's what I would leave you with. I'm a fan of the great theologian Reinhold Niebuhr, who basically said that man's capacity for justice makes democracy possible, but man's inclination to injustice makes democracy necessary. So with that, I would leave you and say, you must exercise your right to vote. You must get out and mobilize communities. Inaction is complicity, folks. It truly is. We must show ourselves in this democracy and show the full force and strength of American resolve. As Joe Biden himself says, this is the United States of America. There is not a single thing we cannot do if we put our minds to it. Although we haven't fully lived up to our ideals, we can do so. So I just thank you all so much for listening to me. And I wish you all Godspeed.
Christian, thank you so much for saying that. That was, I'm speechless. That was amazing. Thank you for that. And before we move on, I do just want to leave everyone here with something that our campaign manager emailed to us staffers the other day. She said, "Don't ever forget that the work each and every one of you are doing every day is part of the ever-enduring work to make this country a better place." Thank you all so much for getting involved. Thank you so much for attending. And thank you all for providing the space for Christian to speak. Thank you all. So it is really important that we follow Joe Biden's lead in demonstrating empathy and concern towards our supporters during this uncertain time. We just want to remind you all that because he is the candidate of empathy, and we want to follow in his footsteps, and that's how we are going to act as the coalition that's going to win in November. So we're going to use the actions that we do. We're going to use them to grow together. This is just reiterating what we were talking about. Oh, sorry about that. I skipped a slide. Just to reiterate the 3 phases of our campaign. A lot of you are asking, a lot of you had some questions, so we just want to reiterate it. Right now, we are building a strong, diverse, organized, and huge coalition to go in November and to win, and not just to win up ballot, but to win on, to win blue all across the ballot. So we are building the organization right now, and that includes reaching out to your personal networks. It includes helping us make community calls to supporters in whether it be your state or other states. It includes texting your friends, asking them to get involved, which includes downloading the Joe Biden app. And it also includes, it also includes attending, which is what you're doing, and hosting virtual events that can bring other people into the fold. We will be sending all of this out again, so no need to worry about memorizing all of that. But after we build, so the organization building, it's going to be ongoing until November. And then at a certain point, you all will know when it happens. We're going to start going to voter contact, which is having the conversations with people who we have not engaged, whether it be people who are on the fence about voting, people who we need to persuade to come on our side. That's when voter contact is going to happen, and it's going to be conversation based. And then the weeks leading up to the election, get out the vote. Vote by mail is going to be a huge deal in this election, and we're going to keep you posted on what the strategy is. You all just please make sure that if your state is a primary coming up, I know that includes DC and Maryland, just be sure that you know all your vote by mail laws, and if you ask any of us, I'm sure that we all can get you, we can get you the guidelines, and also make sure to include other people in that as well. But again, right now we are focusing on building an organization as diverse, strong, large, and motivated as a coalition as possible to come November to take on Donald Trump. And again, we use these actions to grow together. One person gets 5 people. These 5 people get, 3 people each. It grows and grows and grows. And, that's how the grassroots rolls. So we also just wanted to have a quick follow-up from our May 17th kickoff. I know that I think that Matthias was being modest when he said 200 people. That was just 200 people on our Google Hangout. We actually had over 215 people at least who also tuned in via our live stream. So, we also had 480 people sign up, which was really great. And, we're really excited to get this enthusiasm from the May 17th kickoff. Google Hangouts was fun, and we're still going to use them for small meetings. But from now on, for big meetings like this, we're going to use Zoom. I know how aggravating it was for many of you to hear those chimes throughout the meeting of people coming in. So far, this has gone a lot more swimmingly since then. So from now on, we're going to be using Zoom. And this is actually one of the most important things that we have. We are still doing individual follow-ups from that meeting. We have over 480 people to contact. So we need your help doing that. We're going to be sending out a call to action after this via email. But, we need your help with these follow-ups. So if you all can donate or devote maybe 30 minutes to an hour in this upcoming week, just helping us make calls to people who attended this event, we'll get it done like that. And it's not even 30 minutes to an hour, even 15 minutes. We will get this list done this week. We can make sure that we have followed up with everyone who's expressed interest in getting involved with the National Capital Region for Biden. And thus far, we have, and then just to let you know on the follow-ups we've already done, we've already identified valuable experience and expertise, and we'll be speaking to that later, courtesy of our super volunteer, Don Lee. So we'll get to that later. Just to continue the follow-up, the campaign has released a one-pager with links to Joe's policy platform, which will be emailed to everyone here, as well as those who signed up. The policy platform is to our right, so just in case you want to get a sneak peek. We've also begun looking at the Elizabeth Warren campaign's open source Spoke software for text banking. There was a lot of confusion when it came to text banking, the tools that we use. We're going to be making sure that we get everyone the best tools come to, when we need the text banking to get out the vote and to turn out voters and to get them critical information closer to the general election. And then the other thing that we really wanted to go over was our highly anticipated Slack page. So I very much wanted to turn it over to Kurt Tran, Joe Biden fellow, to go over his, at least what I think is his favorite thing in the world, the Joe Biden HQ Slack page. So Kurt, if you go ahead and just unmute yourself, we want to hear from you.
Oh, hi everybody. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. My name's Kurt Tran. I've been helping Jake and Matthias getting going here in the National Capital Region, and welcome everybody. Thank you so much for coming out today on a Sunday evening and joining us. I know it's been like a rough week. The weekend has been also tough for everybody, but we continue on. I mean, we have a campaign that we need to focus on, and I think what Jake was talking about was trying to the three different phases: organizing, contacting, and get out the vote. But what we really need is a tool set that will allow us to do that. Okay, and we have been using Slack. The team Joe have been using Slack, so we're going to deploy something similar here in the National Capital Region. But Slack is something that help you to organize conversations, so that we don't have to have this kind of meeting, but we can still continue to do work from day to day. It's a place where you can share file and documents, so that it make it much easier. And you can find everything on the archive, especially when you have like messages that you put in back and forth, dialoguing between the team, the different groups. So that's the tool that we're going to be deploying right now. Okay, where you can do messaging, you can follow, track channel, and you can engage more people in, because if we recruit new people, they need a place to hang out and collaborate, basically. So that's what Slack is. Okay, next page, Jack. So why do we need Slack? Okay, because of the social distancing. Right now, I mean, we don't have a campaign office to come into. We don't have a place to do phone bank. So we need a place to come together virtually. Okay, and that's what Slack can allow us to do. There are a lot of different mode of communication, but Slack kind of centralizes it together so that we can all collaborate and work in sync with each other. And everyone can volunteer according to their own time schedule and availability, because sometimes people have to work in the daytime, but then they can only come in the evening. But some other people that's already retired want to work more early in the day. They want to make phone bank, write letters, stuff like that. So when you lock these kind of in action into Slack, okay, everybody can see it. Everybody can collaborate and work together. Next page, please. So that's why we needed the tool to make this happen. Okay. So what you're gonna ask, what Slack look like? Okay. Well, I mean, Slack allows you to send message. You can add photo. You can upload image. You can turn on your notifications. You get notified. Somebody just posted something. Boom, ding! You got a message. And then you can come in, look at it, or you can wait until the evening, the weekend, when you have some time to join in. And you can see what people are talking about, okay? Because you want to stay engaged, okay? And that's what the organization is about. Once you organize, you got a team, you got to stay active. Otherwise, we're gonna lose the momentum. And then November is just right around the corner, okay? Next page, Jeff. So how do you get Slack, okay? So basically, you have to download an app, okay? But basically, we will have to send out an invitation so that you can get in. It's on mobile device and it's on the PC as well. Okay, so you can use it, while you're out shopping, or you have to go to the gas station. You can still jump in on your cell phone. Okay, so we're gonna kind of go through that a little bit later on, like a live demo. But so right now, you can go to your Apple Store and download the app. You need that first, but we're gonna have to send out an invitation so you can come in. Okay, next page, please, Jake. So right now, let's jump in a little bit with a demonstration. Okay, and so Jake gonna try to take it off. And if you're on a PC, then the way to get to it is gonna be Joe Biden HQ.slack.com. And then that will bring you into the Slack application. And if it's on your mobile device, you already have it on the app. Boom, it's come right in. Okay, so I know a lot of you might have experience using this before, so we just stick into the choir, but a lot of you have not. So after this, I think we're going to send out a more detailed instruction. But this is what Slack's all about. Jake, were you going to talk to this?
Yeah, I got it, Kurt. Thank you. So thank you for that, Kurt. Kurt actually took it upon himself to make a slide deck of how to use Slack. So for everyone here who would like to use it, we'll be sending it out after the meeting. Also, just so you all know, to get signed up, Slack is different teams, and the team that we're going to be using is Joe Biden HQ. And so for example, another team that I had in college was for my Journal of Politics and International Affairs. So there are many different teams on Slack that you can sort through, and you can get through them. They're actually going to be over here on this part of your screen. But that's nothing to worry about at the moment. So Kurt has actually made a great slide deck on how to use it. So we'll be sending you all that after the meeting. So just so you know, here's just a quick run through of what Slack looks like. We've just created our national capital region for Biden. So we're going to make our profile picture. We're going to set all of these settings. Just some important links right here. This is our sidebar. The bar to the left is the sidebar. These are everyone. This is everyone currently on our Slack team. So you could find anyone here. So for example, if I wanted to look for me, Jake Steele, then I just type my name in and I should come up. I know that I'm here. There I am. And then you could, you could send the person messages like this. You could look at their profile like that. That's just the easily accessible part to get in touch with different people and to direct message with them. You could also share files, and all of the files will be available here on the files. So we also, and most importantly, we have channels here. And so these channels are ways to facilitate how to get involved with like how to get involved in specific ways to do that. So I'll give one example, and it's a very common example, the phone banking volunteers. So if you all are going to be, so the way how we're going to coordinate phone banks as a united crew is, by posting here is by posting in these threads. So for example, if you want to be part of a phone bank, if you want to be part of a of a phone bank, then we'll be posting specific times and we'll be having phone banks. You all could just say, I'm in, you all can ask questions through here. And we have this for Instagram. We have it for letter writing. We have it for LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, Slack, texting, YouTube, everything that you all can find. We have these channels that you all can subscribe to, and it'll streamline your involvement right there. And then you can also send direct messages to people. This is where you'll find direct messages. So for example, say that I need to reach out to Kurt, and I found him up here in our directory, our people directory right here. Say that I need to go down to Kurt, and I need to ask him a question like, hey, what time is the phone bank? So for example, hey, what time is the phone bank? Kurt will receive this message, and he'll be able to respond to you, and you'll be able to find it here in the direct messages part of it. And so that's just a basic demonstration of what Slack is. It's very easy to collaborate. You can share files within chats. You could share it within these channels as well. It's very easy, and it's a great way to streamline our communication and to make sure that we are all, to make sure that we're all on the same page, because we just want to make sure that, we are united, and that, when we take action, our action is intentional and it's as a united front. So that's just a basic demonstration of what Slack is. Again, Kurt has made a great slide deck that we're going to be sending out that can tell you all how to get involved with Slack. So thank you so much for that, Kurt. And without further ado, I believe we have one more slide on Slack, and then we are good to go. And by the way, if you all have questions on this in the interim, we'll take them at the end, just like Matthias indicated. And then just one last thing about the Slack, and I'll just take this, Kurt. Again, we'll be sending out, so the way how to be invited to the Joe Biden HQ Slack is Kurt actually has to email you the link. And we'll be sending out a Google form after the event, and you can indicate there whether you want to be added to the Slack. And we were going to put the link form in the chat. We're sorry that we didn't. We're sorry that we can't put it in right now, but we still need to work on it a little bit. We're sorry about that, but we will be sending a Google form after the event. So don't worry about. Don't worry about not being included on the Slack. If you want to be included on the Slack, we are going to make sure that you all are included on the Slack page. So, and again, I see that there are messages in the chat. I can respond to some individually as well, but you can also ask questions at the end. So thank you all so much for that. And again, we'll send you all how to get involved. We'll send you how to get involved in follow-up email. And then without further ado, I do want to turn it over to Dawn Leaf, who has been making some follow-up calls for the campaign, and she's found out a lot of really cool things about everyone. So Dawn, if you can unmute yourself and speak, we very much want to hear from you.
Sure. First, can everybody hear me?
I can hear you.
Great. I just wanted to take a few minutes, as Jake said, to share what we learned about the people who attended the March 17th kickoff. And this is based on the information from those who responded to the request for information, which I believe total was about 145 folks. You can go to that more detailed slide if you want. And also from some one-on-ones that we've started, and as Jake has mentioned, we haven't finished yet, but we're working on that. So first of all, we do have a lot of campaign experience so far in the people who have identified that. There are about 22 people who've worked on campaigns, including the Obama and Clinton presidential campaign, also some local campaigns. We have some folks from the Buttigieg, O'Rourke, and Biden primaries, and about 9 people with general experience on a lot of different campaigns. And what we're hoping to do is to set up some discussions, information exchange, and get some lessons learned to help inform our planning for the National Capital Region. We also have a lot of different professional skills and experience. We have writers, educators, civil and human rights advocates, small business owners, attorneys, logistics experts, people with multiple language skills, business owners, I think I said that, photographers, digital marketing experts, data entry, data analysis, web design, Twitter, Slack, other IT platforms and tools. And what we're hoping to do, of course, is to get together with you and figure out how you can best be involved with the National Capital Region in the campaign. We also have a diverse set of members from different grassroots organizations. Some of these have been in place for years. They've worked on other national campaigns. They've worked on local campaigns. Just as an example, we have the Howard County, Montgomery County Indivisible Groups, Jaywalkers, the Progressive Equality and Compassion for Everyone organization, and several others. And we're starting to have discussions with some of the leaders in those groups where they're identified to find out what their plans are, what their goals are, so that we can make sure we're using the scarce resources we have in the best way for the campaign. And I should mention that it's not unusual for people to belong to different groups. You may find that you're already working with some of these groups and that works for you and that fits for you. We just want to try to focus the resources, of course, again, most effectively. We also have some student organizations. Christian mentioned that. We have some special interest groups, and I don't mean special interests like lobbyists, okay? I mean special interests like some that people expressed their desire to work with, for instance, Women for Biden, that sponsor events on the joebiden.com that you can access through the joebiden.com website. And then the last thing I would mention is that this is a pretty organic process. What works for me is I think of it as sort of like a Venn diagram where there are lots of overlaps between campaign functions and the different existing groups and capabilities. And as Jake mentioned, we're in the organizing phase. So please help us and bear with us while we go through that. And with that, please speak up and share your ideas, which gets us, I think, to the question and answer and comment part of the agenda.
Thank you, Dawn. Before that, we did just want to remind everyone, these are just some of the ways to get connected with the campaign. We have a Facebook page, courtesy of American University for Biden. We also have the Slack page, as we just went over. We also have a Twitter page, also courtesy of our friends from American University for Biden. Shout out to Christian for that. Again, we will be in touch via Gmail and also via Zoom. And we also have an Instagram as well, National Capital Region for Biden. We'll include how to follow all of these. We'll include in the follow-up message that we have to send. And also just some other campaign updates before we get to the question and answer. We have actually just launched a Young Americans Mobilization Initiative. It is called League 46. Some of you might have seen the baseball cards that us organizers have created. Mine is with me flipping up a baseball, so it's a pretty cool shot right there. But this is going to be open to all students, young professionals, and young elected officials to join. And we are going to include links on how to join it. It's joebiden.com/League46. Again, this will be in the email. Also, Joe's Soul Squad. Many of you are already receiving emails, but every Tuesday and Thursday, it is a digital update from our campaign. You all are pretty much digital organizers. If you sign up to be the Soul Squad, you all will get unique access to, you all will get, unique access to our campaign digital operations and learn about some of the work that we're doing as well. So that's part of the Soul Squad. Again, we will be sending out in the follow-up email a way how to get involved with the Soul Squad. Last but not least, phone banking, text banking, any way to get involved. Or phone banking and sending text to your personal networks, any way to get involved. We will be having these as a region, and so those are just more ways to stay connected. And last but not least, taking action with Team Joe. Many of you already know this because we went over it in the last meeting, but you can make calls to your neighbors or anyone in your local network as part of relational organizing. Downloading our Team Joe app as well. It's a very good way to relational organize. The app will give you the tools to text a message from our campaign to your friends and neighbors, and thus find ways to get them involved. Make community calls as well. That's super important. Especially during this time. We reach out to communities across the country to check in and see how they're doing in this time of crisis. And host or attend a virtual event. These events, they focus, you all are attending one, please host one if you all want to. They focus on building community amongst our supporters and helping our neighbors. And then last but not least, our favorite, go to joebiden.com/organize now. It is your online toolkit with all the ways to support our organizing efforts right now. Without further ado, we will go into the Q&A. I believe that Kurt wanted to ask a quick question, and then we will open the floor to everyone else. So Kurt, go ahead.
Okay, so I guess to start off the question and answer, instead of being like a traditional thing, we do have a prize for whoever can answer the question. Joe Biden, your sign, okay? So if you answer this question correctly, the first one, okay, we're gonna give you one of these. I know a lot of you order your sign from the campaign. The shop's still closed down, so they haven't mailed it out yet. So please be patient. So this is from the Blue Deal. So this deal is good, okay? So anyway, so my first question, okay, everybody ready? Is, okay, what are the three phases of the Biden campaign? You guys put it right in the text. The first one get them will get this your sign. Okay, none of you staff, okay? Gotta be like volunteers. Come on, guys. Who remember it? Come on.
What? I'm gonna eat the rest of my salad for supper.
Okay. Organized building, vote out, contact, and go TV. Does that sound good?
It looks like Lori Krause just beat everyone to it.
Yeah, Lori. Wait, one more. I have one more. I got one more. Okay. Okay. So now the question is, and I'm gonna type in here. What is the ready? What is the URL for the Slack? Anybody remember that? Come on, you gotta remember this one. Oh, all right. Anybody? Yay! Pretty close. That was it. Who's that?
B. Silversmith.
Jambrino?
It looked like
Jake?
Jan Brito.
Jan Brito.
Yeah, pretty close. I know the dot become a slash, but it's just Joe Biden headquarters.slack.com. All right. So get me those two names, okay? Don't lose those two names. All right. Thank you so much. Now we're gonna turn over the real question and answer, everybody. All right. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Kurt. All right, if any of you have question and answer a question, please just unmute yourself and feel free to ask it, and we'll answer it to the best of our abilities.
I do have a question for you. On the Slack, so is this like an alternative to using the Joe Biden app when we want to sign up for events or to make phone bank calls, or is this in addition to that?
So this is not an alternative for any of that. This is just a way to streamline communication as a national capital region. So everyone here, if you all want to be a part of the Slack, this is just so we can have coordinated methods to, to phone bank, to text bank, to reach out to our personal networks. That's what the Slack is. It's not a substitute for anything. It's just the best way how we're going to communicate and have everyone in kind of the same bubble.
Cool.
Great. Thank you, Brian. Does anyone have any other questions? Please feel free to unmute yourself and ask away.
I have a question. I have in one of the early trainings that I did back in March for phone banking with the Joe Biden campaign, they sent a link for a Slack, and so I have that Slack, but that looks a little different than this Slack. Because I do use, and I find it, as you said, helpful in the sense that, you do feel part of a community and you can see, how the phone bank's going. But I just wondered, so this is going to be a different link than the one that I got through the Joe Biden training in March. Is that correct?
So the question, I'm sorry, I think I misunderstood it. The question was, you were asking about, you said that in one of the trainings you were talking about the app, the Team Joe app?
Not the app. It's Slack. It's Slack.
Yeah.
It's a Slack thing. And so it's not the app. The app I find, has not been helpful for me because I don't do a lot of Twitter and Facebook. I mean, that's, I have it downloaded, but that's not it. I attended a training, and I forget his first name, but his name was Rivera, and he was with the headquarters, and he went through a training for Slack and also for Pencil. And as part of that, he sent out a link so we could join. And I've been a member, and I've been, linking that every time I do phone banking. So I'm just sort of confused that this is going to be a different Joe Biden Slack group.
I think Kurt can answer that. He's nodding. Go ahead, Kurt.
Yes, it is a totally different Slack, channel. The
Yeah.
other one is the Team Joe Slack, and you might be on there, That was set up in the very early day for people to collaborate. But now that we are going more decentralized, as organizing is happening from state to state and from region to region, it makes it much more easier to collaborate in that environment. So people over here in the National Capital Region, could be Maryland, DC, Virginia, and there might be people from across the country trying to help too. But eventually, because when the voting going to happen, we want the Maryland people to come down and help Virginia, because we know that Virginia is a very challenging state. This is a contested state, so we want to make sure that the DC can come down and help, the Maryland come down to help. The other Team Joe Slack is more on a different varieties of aspect. So yes, it is different. It's two totally different Slack, but this one more focused.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Thank you.
I believe that we had a question from, hold on, who did I message in that? Tony Hausner, and Tony's been unmuted. So Tony, if you could just go ahead and speak, we'd love to hear the question.
Okay, I'll ask a couple questions. I live in Silver Spring, Maryland. So I've also joined Maryland for Biden, or I forget the exact name of the group. So is the Maryland for Biden group also using Slack, or do different groups use different tools? That's my first question. So I'll let you answer that one, and then I'll ask my second question.
Kurt?
Okay. Now there are different campaigns all across the region. There is Senate campaign, there's a congressional campaign, and of course there's the DNC campaign. So some of these might have their own Slack channel. So that's the way they kind of collaborate and organize within that organization, because each one might have a different objective and a different tactic to go win the vote in November. So yes, there might be something different, but that can be at the state level, because every state have their Democratic committee, and they might set up something totally different. And I know there's some Senate race that also using Slack right now.
Okay. Second question I have is this tri-state group coordinating to any degree with the Maryland for Biden, or are you each doing your own thing?
Yes, we are trying to integrating. Jake has the Maryland arena. Jake is come from the Mid-Atlantic region, supporting from the campaign. And Matthias is covering Virginia. So, I mean, that's why we kind of come together right now and trying to bond the group. Okay. So yes, we always reach out to everybody, and, maybe, if you work with them very closely, please help them bring them in, because the stronger we build the coalition, I think we have a stronger voice and make things happen. Okay.
So just to answer a quick question from Jackie Rodriguez, who asked a question about vote by mail. Our campaign is closely monitoring, especially the higher ups. We're all closely monitoring the, everything with the Postal Service. I actually I've also been following that as well. The John Oliver segment on it was very, very, very informative and very scary as well, to know that the Postal Service is not doing too well. But we are, staying attuned to that, and we understand that vote by mail is going to be arguably maybe the top mode for voting this election, considering there's a pandemic. We will all be, we'll keep you all in the loop with that. I know that our campaign is stressing that we provide the infrastructure for vote by mail. Also includes helping the Postal Service. I believe Joe Biden has a policy platform on that. Thank you for that question, Jackie.
So hi. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, Kurt, how are you? Great. So I do not have any experience with Slack, and I would love to learn more about it. So when will I be receiving the invitation to join the Slack platform?
Yeah, sometime tomorrow morning.
Okay, great. And the other question I have, how will this kind of motivating the general election as far as communicating and have more access to reach supporters and voters? Or is this only some type of internal platform to communicate and collaborate?
Yes, so Slack is going to be just an internal collaboration for now. However, if we can find a creative way to make it so that we can reach supporters through Slack, Slack is more of like a workspace. Think of it as like, it's more of a workspace. So it's not really, at least I don't know how we are going to use it to have persuasion conversations or to reach other people outside of our networks. But it's a good way to coordinate how we are going to reach other people through phone banking, text banking.
I see. Okay.
Yes.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia.
You're welcome.
Is there a way that Slack is going to be used to help answer questions that we may encounter when we're phone banking or texting? And if so, how would this work in real time? I can't imagine myself texting or sending a question to someone else that might be on Slack and still keeping someone on the telephone in the meantime.
I think that's actually a perfect use of Slack right there. I think that, the perfect use is that, if you all, there's so many people on the workspace that if you do ask a question, then, if you do ask a question, then, you can get back to you and respond. That is the beauty of it, where you have so many other people. You don't have to rely on one person to text. You can message it in the workspace, and there, hopefully someone will respond. The bigger the workspace is, the more likely you are to get a response.
Okay, thank you.
Jake, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So I put a comment in there. This is Shireen. I'm in DC and I'm on another Slack group. But one of the things that has been challenging, but I really do feel we should, at the outset sort of target, is to get a Spanish language channel going. So we have on the other team that I'm on, we're creating shareable content that we can then use for the Latino and Hispanic community, because they are definitely, when you look back at the primaries, I think they were a block of voters we did not necessarily do very well with, further out in the country, obviously Nevada, but even in the DMV, there are a fair number of Spanish-speaking voters I feel we should be specifically targeting in Spanish.
Yes. Yes. So were you talking about using the Slack for that? Because I know that there was a question about Spanish-speaking Slack.
Yes. So what?
Channel?
So if there's, for example, if there's a channel that is within Slack in our group, there's a channel that is the Spanish content section, and then I don't speak Spanish, like I speak French and other languages, but not Spanish. So when I'm trying to reach out to the Spanish speakers, if there's a way to put that in there, we've identified some fluent Spanish speakers who can translate, and then we can get messages out that way, including content.
For sure, we can do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is John Graham. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, John.
I'm from California. I've hosted a Joe Biden meeting, but it was two and a half months ago. And I'm trying to remember the gentleman that did the work behind it, and getting reconnected with him. I can't find it in my calendar for some reason. I'm wondering if I will get everything that everybody else back there is going to receive after today's meeting. And if you can connect me with this gentleman that was in charge of either the West Coast or the Western region.
Are you talking about Jose Perez? Did that name ring a bell? Jose Perez?
What?
Jose Perez. Is that name ring a bell?
I don't think it was Jose. I believe he was, his descent is from India.
Okay.
John, if you would like, I can reach out to our team in California, and we can put you in touch with one of the organizers there.
Because that was one of my first approaches with Zoom, and
sure,
I didn't have a webcam. I had to turn my cell phone into a webcam.
John,
I've come a long way since then, so I would love to do as much as I can.
Yeah, John, if you want to private message me in the chat, I can save your information, and then I can reach out and connect you with whoever I come across in California.
Oh, do I just go on chat and send my name and?
Yeah. You just go to the to button when you're sending a chat, and you find my name.
Okay, thank you.
Great.
I have two quick questions. First, a shout out to Marcia for that beautiful cat that was on her lap. And then secondly, what's the age cutoff for League 46 groups?
Great question. I can get that back to you. I'm not sure what the cutoff is. It might just be like the traditional, like young professional 18 to 35, which is what I've heard, but I'm not sure. I can definitely get you the cutoff. I also think that we're going to be very flexible about that because we want to make sure everyone's involved.
In that case, I will try to recruit a 36-year-old member of our Board of Supervisors in Fairfax County.
Please. Thank you for that. Going once, going twice. All right, Matthias, let's wrap it up.
Alrighty, well, thank you so much to all of you for being on the call today. We'll be sending out a recap email, like Jake mentioned, in the next few days, continuing to reach out to everybody, seeing how they would like to contribute to the campaign, be it joining the Slack channel, making phone calls, hosting your own events. There are lots of things that you can do, even in these times that we're physically distant from each other. We still want to stay connected. So with that being said, shout out to Jake, Kurt, Dawn, and of course Christian, everybody who contributed to today's call. And with that being said, I will bid you all a good night. And
Jake,
thank you
I have
for
a question.
joining.
Jake,
yes, sir.
Can I?
Jake, yeah, John.
Hello?
Yeah, hey, John. Yes, I got you.
Say that. John Calaros from Chicago.
Hey, John.
Professor with Keller Graduate School of Management for 41 years. Educated in both Europe and the States, and have taught in both Europe and the States. And I'm not saying this to strike any points with you. I'm only saying it because I've authored a book. I don't know if you can see the title, I'll say it. Broken School System, Broke Students, and How to Fix Both. I know Joe is very strong about academia and schooling. I know Jill is a doctor, professor. All I want from you guys is Jill's email so I can send her a copy. Could somebody send me her email?
So-
I'd love to send her a copy. By the way, the book is on Amazon in case anybody's interested. Call me. I can send it to you at my discounted price.
Thank you, John. We have a strict chain of command here on the campaign. So if you would like me, you can send me the book. I'm the first line of command. I can try to send it up to Joe Biden. Even us organizers aren't allowed to reach out to our organizing director unless it's a serious emergency that we have to do that. Joe Biden is probably 5 levels above that as well. So we're not able to give out emails. We're not able to give out emails like that. But if you want to send it to me, I can see what I can get.
You cannot give out somebody's email.
I can't give out Joe Biden, the future First Lady of the United States email. I don't think I can give
No problem.
Yes.
All right. I think if you email it to Jake, okay, and you can send the book to Jake, and then he will get it to the headquarters, and it will make it to Jill. Trust us.
Right. Thank you.
I do have one more quick question for you. Don was talking about people who have, certain skills to help out in this campaign. I was a photojournalist in television news for quite a few years, actually, more than 10 years. And so I have that skill. I have a background in journalism. Actually, have a broadcasting degree. And so I would like to be able to use those skills possibly to help out, in this process. So I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work or how that would work, but if somebody could get in touch, with me and let me know, that'd be great.
So Brian, I think you did put in a comment last time, right? For the last meeting, was that you?
I don't know, did
I? but yeah, definitely we can use you. I mean, we do have like a letter for Joe campaign where we write a letter down to the editor, and we're trying to organize that and make it a little bit more formalized around the communication aspect with all the journalists. So yeah, that's something that we definitely need your help on. So please, we will reach out to you, and you probably got my email, the link. Just email back and make sure that I get your contact information. There was some other journalists that was trying to volunteer to help as well. So we need to put the team
That's
together.
awesome. That's cool. That's really cool. I mean, after what I saw last night, what happened with CNN, or was it the night before, when they broke through, the front, I was like, that's just, it made me so angry because it was just like, here's a network that actually is trying to do the right thing. And, we've got this, country in such a frenzy that, and for the right reason, but attacking the press, trying to do their job, and and the headquarters for that too. It was pretty scary, to see that. So it would be nice to be able to, contribute in a way that it's productive. Because a lot of times, I worked for a Sinclair station when I was in Nashville, and I didn't realize what a pro-Trump station that was until the anchors were forced to talk about fake news. Every single station in the United States that was owned by this company was forced, their anchors to talk about the fake news thing. And they were.
You're definitely right. We are in a very strange world right now. That's why everybody needs to go out there and vote this November. And I appreciate everybody come out today, and then join our Slack channel. We can discuss more. We can bring more item on there. issue so that we can mobilize and get ready for November. Okay, so please join us.
Absolutely.
So Matthias, unless you have more questions, anybody question?
Jake or Kurt, this is Paul.